Okay, let's grab that coffee and talk about something really interesting, SpaceX. Everyone, and I mean everyone, gets excited about what they're doing: reusable rockets, Starlink internet, even aiming for Mars. It's truly groundbreaking stuff, pushing the boundaries of what we thought was possible in space. But here's the kicker, right? Despite all this incredible progress, you can't actually buy SpaceX stock on the public market. It's like this giant, fascinating company that's constantly in the news, but for the average investor, it remains totally out of reach. So, the big question is, why? And will that ever change? So, what exactly is SpaceX bringing to the table that makes it such a compelling company? Well, you've got a couple of big pillars. First, there's the launch services, with the Falcon 9 and Falcon Heavy rockets, which have really revolutionized space access through reusability. They've driven down costs dramatically, making space more accessible than ever. Then, there's Starlink, their satellite internet constellation, which is already connecting millions globally, especially in underserved areas. And, of course, the ambitious Starship program, designed for lunar and Martian missions. These aren't just incremental improvements, they're fundamental shifts. The big reason you can't buy SpaceX stock? It's a private company, and Elon Musk has been pretty vocal about why he prefers it that way, especially for a venture as long-term and capital-intensive as Starship. Building a city on Mars, or even just getting there, isn't something that delivers quarterly profits. Public companies often face immense pressure from shareholders to show short-term returns, which can stifle truly revolutionary, long-horizon projects. By staying private, SpaceX can focus on its audacious goals without the constant scrutiny and demands of the public market. It's a strategic choice, really. Now, while SpaceX as a whole might stay private for a while, there's one part of the business that analysts and investors often point to as a prime candidate for a potential spin-off IPO: Starlink. Unlike the pure R&D and capital-intensive Starship program, Starlink is a subscription service. It's generating revenue, it's growing its subscriber base significantly, and it has a more traditional business model that public markets understand. Elon himself has even hinted at Starlink potentially going public once its revenue becomes more predictable and the cash flow is smoother. It's definitely the most likely gateway for public investment. Then we have Starship, which is a beast of a different color. This isn't just about launching satellites, it's about making humanity multiplanetary. The scale of the engineering, the testing, the sheer cost involved in developing a fully reusable super heavy-lift launch system capable of taking hundreds of people to Mars, it's astronomical. For Elon, this is the ultimate long-term vision, and it requires truly patient capital. You can see why bringing such a project under the immediate pressure of public quarterly earnings calls might derail its progress or force compromises on its ambitious goals. It's a marathon, not a sprint. Even though you can't buy shares publicly, SpaceX isn't exactly a small garage startup. Its valuation in the private market has just soared, reaching well over $150 billion in recent funding rounds. This makes it one of the most valuable private companies globally, which is wild, by the way. This valuation reflects the incredible technology, the market leadership, and the immense future potential across its different divisions. But these private investments usually come from very large institutional investors or venture capital firms, not everyday individuals, which is a key distinction. So, the burning question remains: when will any part of SpaceX go public? It's really tough to say definitively. Elon has stated in the past that Starlink might IPO when its cash flow is more stable and predictable. For the broader SpaceX, it seems the timeline is far more extended, perhaps even decades, until the Starship program is truly mature and self-sustaining. The company would likely need to hit certain milestones, both in terms of profitability and long-term project stability, before considering a public offering for its core space transportation business. Patience, my friend, is a virtue here. If SpaceX ever does decide to go public, it won't necessarily be through a traditional IPO, or initial public offering, where new shares are created and sold by investment banks. There's another option, a direct listing. In a direct listing, no new shares are created, existing private shareholders just sell their shares directly on the exchange. This method often saves on banking fees and avoids the pop or volatility common with IPOs. Given Elon's history and preference for efficiency, a direct listing, especially for Starlink, could be a real possibility down the line. It's a different path to liquidity. For investors looking to eventually jump in, what would they need to see? Well, they'd want to understand the long-term profitability of Starlink, the trajectory of Starship development, and the overall market share in launch services. Regulatory stability is also a big one, as space is heavily regulated. They'd need clear financial reporting, a robust management team beyond just Elon, and a sustainable competitive advantage. Basically, all the things that make a public company attractive, but with the added complexity of incredibly ambitious, long-term space ventures. It's a unique prospectus, for sure. Ultimately, investing in SpaceX, whenever that day comes, would be a bet on the very long-term future of humanity in space. It's not just about next quarter's earnings, it's about next decade's breakthroughs, and potentially next century's colonization efforts. It truly embodies that vision of building infrastructure beyond Earth. So, while we wait for that private door to open to the public, we can keep watching the launches, the innovations, and the sheer audacity of what they're trying to achieve. It's an exciting journey, whether you're an investor or just a fan of progress.